Call to the member for McEwen.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Minister for Housing and Homelessness. How will the Albanese Labor government's tax cuts help tradies building the new homes Australia needs? What has been the response to Labor's plan for tradies to keep more of what they earn?
Call to the Minister. Order. I haven't called the Minister. The Minister has the call. The Minister for Housing, the Minister for Homelessness and the Minister for Small Business.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. And I want to thank the member for McEwen for that question. I know the member for McEwen has been a big supporter of our ambitious housing agenda in his own electorate and indeed around the country. And that's why, of course, every tradie paying tax in Australia will get a tax cut from 1 July under Labor's plan, Mr Speaker. Every tax-paying tradie will get a tax cut, and for many they'll get a bigger tax cut thanks to the Labor government. Labourers on an average taxable income of $57,000 will get a tax cut of $1,349, Mr Speaker, over $700 more than under the previous plan. But it's not just labourers. 88% of them will get a bigger tax cut under our plan, but sparkies on average, with their average taxable income of $110, will get a tax cut of $2,262, Mr Speaker, over $750 more than the previous plan. Indeed, 84% of electricians across the country will get a bigger tax cut because of Labor's plan. Carpenters, critical to the building industry, on average taxable incomes of $72,000, will get a tax cut of $1,563 on average, over $730 more than under the previous plan. Indeed, 94% of carpenters in this country will get a bigger tax cut under Labor's plan. Mr Speaker, a plumber on an average taxable income of $79,000 will get a tax cut of $1,730, over $750 more than under the previous plan. And, Mr Speaker, 94% of plumbers in Australia that pay tax will get a bigger tax cut under our plan too. So 94% of plumbers better off, 94% of carpenters better off, 84% of electricians better off, and 88% of labourers better off. Mr Speaker, this is a tax cut for every working Australian, all 13.6 million of them, and 76,000 of them in the member for McEwen's electorate, Mr Speaker. But that's what responsible government is about. It's about listening to the people, making the tough but the right decisions to help people with the cost of living, Mr Speaker, and it's in stark contrast to what those opposite are doing. Indeed, they're all over the place when it comes to tax cuts. They said they were going to fight them in this place. They said they were going to roll them back, Mr Speaker. And indeed, they say they support the very tax cut.
Order. Members on my right. Members on my right will cease interjecting. The Minister for Infrastructure. Order. Ministers on my right on the front bench will cease interjecting, or they will be warned. The member for Riverina on a point of order.
Relevance. The member for McEwen's question was very tightly scripted. It did not include alternatives, and the minister should refer to the question she was asked.
You were correct on the first point, but this question contained what has been the response. So the minister, as I was listening carefully, was reading a direct quote about the changes that have been presented before the House. So I will not uphold the point of order. So the minister has.
Mr Speaker, for tax cuts that they support, they appear very angry over there about these tax cuts. They either support them, Mr Speaker, or they don't. But let's be honest, these tradies with their tax cuts are critical to building the houses that Australia needs. We know that the tradies are critical to this, and we want them to earn more and we want them to keep more of what they earn so they can get on and build the homes Australia needs.